To everybody, that means 100,000 welcomes in Ireland, and if you have ever been to Ireland, that's the first thing you see when you exit the airplane. You will see 100,000 welcomes. So 100,000 welcomes to you all here today. This is our second year doing the St. Patrick event. I am Paula Mahoney. I'm originally from Ireland, and I left Dublin in 1985. So I left right before the Celtic Tiger even took off. And now the Celtic Tiger is more of a meow. I like that. So we're gonna start off with some music today. We're gonna do some poetry. I'm gonna go into a little bit of the history of Ireland, why the Irish are so prominent, especially in America. It is one of the countries where the Irish really and truly came over to the United States with nothing. And what brought them here, what kept them here, and how prosperous they have become not only as a secondary society within the U.S., but there is over 45 million people today in the United States claiming Irish heritage, so there is a reason for that. So we're going to start off with a song.
You want to bang away?
Yes, I will bang.
Who's going to bang away on the drum? Okay, well here's the rules. It's an Irish thing, so there has to be rules, right? So the rules are just have a good time. And I understand they're fully insured, so if you want to get up and dance, go for it. We encourage it. And clap along as you like, okay? So first of all, we'll get a good beat going, and everybody's going to clap their hands, right? It's called Irish Aerobics. You got to get it going. So are you ready now? So here's your beat. That one, don't worry. All right, this is called a button box. So they come in all sorts of different tunings, and this particular one is in what's called the Irish BC tuning. I was just explaining to her. This row here, see, we have to teach you something, or we're in trouble. This row here is in the key of C, sort of just like a harmonica. One note's in and one note's out. Okay, this row here is in B. There it is. So, anyway, and the reason is so that was in the key of D. You have your sharps and flats here. For anybody who knows what's going on, I've not a clue. I just push buttons and hope it works. Right?
And I bang a drum and hope it works.
She's banging the drum. So anyway, so I'm going to get out the banjo a little bit here, and I have to switch around. I'm easily bored. You have to bear with me. And I'm going to sit and play this a little bit because I hurt my back yesterday, so I don't want to stand up too much. So we'll play a lovely song for you. Are you ready? tune that was used on the ships originally. So like a sea shanty, except it had a bit of a little to it. And they used it as a work tool because they would all get in, you know, they'd all get in the rhythm, thanks. Rhythm. I'm a musician, I don't know about that. But anyway, so I'll play a little hornpipe for you. It goes like this. Nobody's clapping along.
Oh.
You're supposed to clap along. Yes, you gotta.
One of the things about the hornpipe is how you remember the hornpipe is that, have you seen the Irish dancers where they do the light shoe where you don't hear any of the rhythm, the soft shoe? The hornpipes are all the hard shoes, so when you hear the hard shoe and you hear the clicks, which the Irish brought down south, so it was picked up by the African Americans because they then is a derivative of tap dancing. So the Irish brought the hard shoes, so down in the valley, because the Irish were on the same par as the Chinese when they first came to the United States. I'm talking early 1900. The African Americans loved the fact that the Irish were doing these hard dances, and they developed tap dancing. So tap dancing is actually very American, but it is a derivative of the hard shoe of Irish dancing. So, okay? So when he says the hornpipe and you hear those beats, you'll know exactly the shoes that he's talking about.
Something.
All right. I'm going to tell a joke. The Irish are known for their sense of humor, and the reason one thing is that everything was done. There was no radio. It was all done around fire, so stories and jokes have been passed down for generations. So I'm going to tell you a story about Paddy Englishman, Paddy Irishman, and Paddy Scotchman. So Paddy Irishman and Paddy Scotchman are sitting in a pub. Paddy Scotsman orders a scotch and water, and a fly lands in his drink, and he swirls it around and he drinks it down and he goes, "Protein." Paddy Englishman steps up to the bar, and Paddy Englishman says, "I'll have a pint of your best British ale." The ale lands on the counter, a fly lands in his beer, and he goes, "I'm not drinking that. Excuse me, barman, I want a whole new pint." Paddy Irishman steps up to the bar. He said, "I'll have a pint of Guinness." Pint of Guinness arrives. Fly lands in the beer. Paddy Irishman goes, "I don't think so." So he eyes the fly, eyes his finger, he goes in, picks up the fly, squeezes the fly and says, "Spit it out! Spit it out!"
There we go.
What I want to show you is that every name had a coat of arms because they were able to distinguish where you were from. And the Mahoney is, as it's pronounced Mahoney in Ireland, is my husband's coat of arms. And I am from the O'Farrells, my coat of arms. So the thing in my family is that you see my husband's a lot of lions, and snakes, but I'm one large lion. And I told him my one large lion eats all your little lions. Absolutely. And the chieftains and the clans, they were all over Ireland. And that was the reason why the Irish couldn't band together, because they were tribes. It was like what you would have here in the United States with the tribes that were on the plains. They couldn't band together to fight one enemy. And the one to do that was Brian Boru. He was the only one that was able to unite the clans to fight a common enemy, which is why Brian Boru is also kind of known as one of the last kings, main kings of Ireland. So that's where your name comes from. Everybody has a coat of arms in Ireland, everybody. And also you can have Irish names. Your first name would mean something, your middle name, and your last name. And so I wanted to share a little bit of what your name means. And that is why in the United States, many names were changed when they came here. Your name would have been changed on the sheet when you entered through two parts. You only entered through two parts of the country, Boston and New York. Okay? And the name would either be legally. Well, a lot came down through Canada, but the ships would leave from Cork. They would leave from the west coast of Ireland, and many of the young people that left during that time, they were never came back, and they were never seen again. The majority of the people left during the famine, and the famine was in the 1850s. Now, one of the things about the famine is that the only thing that failed on Irish soil was the potato famine. No other crop failed. But it was the main staple of what they fed the people. And the landowners that had hold of the land at the time were not Irish. They were British landowners, and they lived in England. So they were so far removed from what was happening on the lands that when the potato crop failed the year after year, many of them died. So what happened is that the potato failed. There was 8.5 million people living in Ireland at the beginning of the potato famine. 1 million died, 1 million immigrated to England, 1 million immigrated to America, and 500,000 immigrated to the south, to the Australia, Canada. But the majority did come to America. Actually, it's 1.5 million that died, that starved to death. And one of the reasons why the Irish are so prominent in America is that they came over so long ago. But the one thing about the potato famine is that it caused a mass exodus, and Ireland's population never recovered. We lost half our population. So in the 1850s, there was 8.5 million people. There is still only 4.2 million people in Ireland today. We never recovered our population. And then with the exodus in the 1850s, the Irish immigration never stopped, which is why you see many people of Irish descent here today. And first generation Irish who came to the United States because it became a way of life for the young people. There was many children in the family. Sometimes there was 12 to 15 children. The oldest son would inherit the land, that if they had a farm, nobody else got the land, so the other children had to find something else to do, and many of them immigrated, and many came to the United States, which is why you still have a predominantly strong immigration from the United States, from Ireland today. You recognize that. The water is wide, of course, and it's all about that.
confusion whether that's a Scottish or Irish tune, but it really doesn't matter. It's all about them going way over the sea. So, lovely tune, but I'm not going to sing it for you because you don't want to. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to be brave, and I'm going to tell you about a lovely gal. You know her? She's from Dublin, right?
Anybody?
Anybody know her?
Who said it?
Her name's Mary Margaret. Mary Margaret. You know Mary Margaret? You don't know Mary Margaret? Sister Mary Margaret. Well, I wouldn't call her a sister. Mary Margaret Malone. Now, he had it over there, Molly Malone. Molly is an Irish conjunction for Mary Margaret. Did you know that? That's where it comes from. Sort of like the English getting Bill out of William, right? I've never figured that one out. But anyway, Molly was a lovely gal, and she's from Dublin, of course, and her story goes way back to the 17th century, way back there. And you all know the tune, right? You all know the chorus to that, right? Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Now you got that, right? So we're all going to sing that together, except we're going to double it. Sorry? Cockles.
They're fish.
They're fish.
They're fish are like a shellfish.
Yes, yes.
Like clams.
Yeah.
Mussels.
All that good stuff. Anyway, so we're going to sing that, but we're going to double the chorus. That way there's more participation, and you get more chances to get it right. All right, so here we're going to try it. Are you ready? All right, sit up straight now, breathe carefully. There we go. Are you ready? Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, cry cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, cry cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. That's it. I think they have it.
I think.
In Dublin, fair city, where the gals are so pretty, the first set me eyes on sweet Molly Malone, and she went through with a barrow through the streets, brought a barrow. Her all the time. She sort of worked in the family business, and they all had the same odor around her. We can't figure it out. Maybe it has something to do. She works around fish. I don't know. Huh? She was a fish monger. She was no wonder. Was all her hair mother and father before his sleep. With barrel through the streets, right arrow, high cockles and mussels, alive, 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 oh. Terrible thing happened to Molly. It was horrible. She dropped dead, flat lying on the floor. It was horrible. The chemists were of no avail. No, doctors could do nothing for her at all. It was horrible. But she died of the fever, and no one could save her. And that was the end of sweet Molly Malone. But if you go to Dublin this day, this very day, you can go, can you not? It's just there. You go to Dublin, right on the bottom of Grafton Street. Any evening, any day, you can still find her there because her ghost wheels the barrow through the streets broad and narrow. Cry cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh. Cry cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh. Cry cockles and mussels. No, one more time, let's hear. Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh. Cry cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh.
This is called the Clutter Ring, and it's friendship, loyalty, and love. It is said that a guy was caught stealing. He was a blacksmith and he was caught stealing, and he was arrested by the British and sent to live in Australia. And he was leaving the love of his life. And before he left, he carved a ring for her. And it was known as the Clutter Ring. He asked her to wait for him to come back from Australia, because he was sent. Australia at that time was a colony where when you did something wrong in Ireland, or you stole or anything like that, you were sent to the colonies. And he swore that if she wore the ring, he would wait for her. She would wait for him. And she did. Now, if you wear the claddagh, is the hands of friendship, so it's got two hands enclasping the heart and the crown for the loyalty that she was going to wait for him. If the ring is facing outwards, so if you're wearing the ring and the heart is facing out, it means your heart is free, which means
You're available.
You're available, okay? But if the heart is facing towards your heart, it means your heart is taken and it's given to another. So it has become a major symbol in Irish jewellery. So if you have heard of the Clutter Ring, that is the meaning of the Clutter Ring. It's the symbol of the friendship, the loyalty, and the love. And here we have one right here. Look at this. And they're now wedding bands, so people are using them as the wedding bands.
I've got one on my door lock.
Okay, so they're using them now
It
as
goes
wedding
both
bands.
ways. We're both taken and available.
So,
Not Palomine. The Pennsylvania Dutch are named themselves that, and they were the Scots that were part of the original plan to go in and take over the north of Ireland. The English conscripted them. Well, they really didn't conscript them. They more or less said, you can go take property as you like. And some did it innocently, thinking that it was okay, and others knew what they were doing. But anyway, they don't like to call themselves Scot-Irish because that's sort of a bad name for the Irish. So they now call themselves the Pennsylvania Dutch. And that's where you get that from. And then there's the Scot-Irish, which is myself, my own family. If you go back in history, left Ireland from Kilkenny and went to Scotland for about 100 years because they weren't speaking Irish anymore. They weren't allowed to do that. And so they went to Scotland for a while. When they came back, they realized, well, Ireland is not what it was when they left. So they took off and they went to Australia. And now Australia at this time was a colony, and it wasn't really that bad a place to go. And then they ended up back in the States again, and it's a long story. I can go on and on. But now, myself, I'm born in Butte, Montana. Now, I'm back in Ireland now probably every year because I've still lots of friends, whatever. But Montana is the per capita, the largest migration of Irish in the United States. Most people don't realize that, but it's true. From the mining up there, the silver mines, the Anaconda mines. They were working the railroad. And once it got sort of on the other side here, they were working, sort of the Chinese were coming from the West Coast, they were coming from the East Coast. And it was hot, and the Irish really didn't like the hot weather very well. And they learned that there was mining opportunities up in Montana and up in the Dakotas. So, the Swedes were all up in the Dakotas, of course. And so the Irish all went up to Montana because they had been mining for hundreds of years with the Welsh, and they knew mining, and they didn't want to work on the railroads. You think Irish is really difficult to look at and read and figure out? Look at Welsh. You ever see the road signs? They could be Russian. And then they put English in very small, yes. Yeah, the Welsh language is really goofy. It's really, and then you have the Irish that are now English in Somerset, in England. In the southwest of England, Somerset there. A lot of Irish there that have intermarried in English, and they're now English, but they're really of Irish descent. And they sort of came over from Wales, because, of course... And how about the Cornish? And the Cornish, the same thing. So what's nice about being Irish, sometimes the Scots will talk about, in the English, some of these, they'll talk about their pure blood history. Well, I would be concerned about bragging about that too much myself. I like being Irish because we're all mutts. There really isn't a true Irishman anymore. You have the black Irish, which are the Irish from the south with the dark hair. And they came from the Spanish Armada and the taking of Kinsale and what have you. And then you've got myself, I'm the Viking Irish, which of course, Dublin, which is Dublania, you have Wexford, Waterford, Galway, all those are Lord's towns. They're all, you know. So anyway, so I'm of that the Strongbow clan there. So sort of the Nords. So that's why I say my last name's Irish, but I'll say it's Swedish. It doesn't really matter. We're all mutts. We all have a good time. Made of a goat skin, used in ceremony. Now everybody, you'll see this in all these old movies and everybody playing the drum. Not true. Really wasn't until the 60s that they started really using these in music. They were used in sort of worship and church for things like this, and they were to keep a beat. But they got in the early 60s, they got sort of nuts with it. And you hold it sort of like a pencil. And you hit it with the back of your hand like this. So it's a great thing for marching along, you know, with the bagpipes, right? But you can do lots of fun march stuff with it. So you see, you can have lots of fun with this particular thing. And you get those different sounds by pushing on the head as you're playing. Anyway, I'll let Paula have fun with that.
How about can you explain the elam? Is it the elam, the bagpipe, the Irish?
I'll get to that in a minute. We'll be getting to that. Meanwhile, I thought I'd play another whistle for you. Stand up again. It was good to stand up now.
Liam will explain why these are called the penny whistles.
Yes, the penny whistle. Or there's all sorts of different ones. This one's happened to be so. The penny whistle or the tin whistle. It's called the penny whistle in England. It's called the tin whistle in Ireland, and I think that's just to be different. Actually, what's it made out of? Anybody? Why is it called a penny whistle? Anybody? Can anybody guess? No, sort of, but not. But yes, sort of made out of tin, but that's not the reason. Can anybody guess? No. The reason is the kids, and actually, even though the Irish have taken to it, actually came from England first, and the kids used to play a tune for a penny. They would play on the streets a tune for a penny, and that's how it got its name, the penny whistle. The Irish, the tin whistle, and that sort of goes with this one's not tin, but anyway, it's all the same. You see, I bought a whistle. It was made of wood. It was an old one, and it wouldn't whistle very well. It was made of wood. Got a crack. It's horrible. So I went and I got one made of steel. Steel wouldn't whistle. So I had a wooden whistle that wouldn't whistle, a steel whistle that still wouldn't whistle. So I got one out of tin. Hooray, I tin whistle. See how that goes? It always leads somewhere, doesn't it? So I'll play you we'll play some lovely hornpipes. We're going to be very diplomatic. Is that good? We'll be diplomatic. I'll start with the Boys of Blue Hill, and then I'm going to play Harvest Home, which is really the Cork hornpipe, and then I'm going to play a bit of the Belfast hornpipe. So you see, we're politically correct, are we not?
We are.
North and south. So here we go. It goes like this. we get out the pipes. All right. These are called Ullen pipes. Ullen. Everything you got to be in it. Ullen. Some will say Julian. Again, they're spelled crazy, but Ullen. It's Ullen. What it means is it means elbow or union, because it's putting everything together, you see. And so I'll show you how this works. Can you see over there? Let me move this out of the way. There we go. All right. All right. Oh, so the first thing you have to do to play these things is put on a seatbelt so you don't go flying out about the seat. All right. So we'll do that. Okay. Irish. You know, it rains there a lot. They have a lot of time on their hands, so, you know, they develop these crazy things. Now, these are unique to Ireland. And, oh, wait a minute. I have to get my, in case I drool. You know, the jokes. There we go. Okay, no. All right. So now we have to put that in there. That's a very complicated thing. Let's see, and then we get that on. Take your blood pressure, make sure you're well enough to do this. So it's called the Illen pipe. See, you're ill. You get that, okay, all right. Now, we'll see if these usually take hours to get in tune, so we won't worry about it. Close enough for classical Irish jazz. All right. So then you take this part. All right, close enough. We're going to go with it that way. So what you're doing here, sort of like playing organ. Anybody ever play theater? I used to play theater organ. That makes this look simple. You know what that's like. This hand's going, your feet are going. Like I say, the Irish are very dyslexic, so anything backwards they can do. Speaking of that, I have to tell you about Casey. Casey was a lovely man. He was Ireland's version of Evel Knievel. He was great, very dyslexic, loved to do everything backwards. In reverse, he did it, right? So, like, now you have to imagine this. Just picture this in your mind now. A whole row of motorcycles. 34 motorcycles lined up in a row, and he's going to jump them in a bus. Reverse, you see. He would have made it too, but halfway over, someone rang the bell. It was horrible. So anyway, all right, so I'm going to play you two lovely airs, and an air is sort of a slow tune, and this will be a tribute to women. The first one is called Slieve Lamine, and that's a mountain in Tipperary. It's called the Women's Mountain. Lovely. Sometime I'll come do a slideshow. I've got the whole thing. But anyway, so Slieve Lamine. The other one is in Doon Glana, which is the Dark Maid in the Glen. And the third one will be the Fox Hunters. So here we go.
last dogs with a wolf in its name. No other dog in the world has a wolf in its name. They are actually the largest breed of dogs in the world, and they are known as the dogs of the kings of Ireland. So remember all the families we were telling you about, the clans? They would all have a wolfhound. And these dogs are sight hounds. Do you ever see on the savannah when the lions go in for the kill, where they jump up and they'll grab and they'll bring down their prey? Well, that's what these dogs were trained for. That's what they did. They're sight hounds. They would sight they would go after boar. They would go after deer, venison. They would bring down any type of large animal, and they would bring it to the masters. So they were actually hunting dogs. This breed nearly became extinct. It was actually the United States that brought the breed back from the brink of extinction. And as I said, because they're so large, I mean, these dogs, he should be a lot bigger. And they are, like I said, they are the dogs of the old kings of Ireland. If you look at any of the old manuscripts, if you look at anything at all in the books that I have, you will see a dog on a country home. These dogs were very well coveted, and they were fed very well. They were looked after very well. And now it's all being bred out of them. So all the aggression is being bred out of these dogs. They're not aggressive. They are so sweet. There's two types of the wolfhound. You get the brindle, which is Dougal is a brindle, which means he's a wheaten, sorry. There's two types, the brindle and the wheaten. The wheaten has that darker, coarser hair. It's more of a grayish kind. And this here is the wheaten, which is a lot softer. So if you touch Dougal, you'll just see how soft he is. His fur is very, very soft. And they were also very hairy animals. So if you look at Dougal's feet, they look like a polar bear. And the reason for that was the cold. Ireland is very cold. Ireland rains 300 times a year, 300 days out of the year. I mean, we just don't get it. But our soil is very fertile. Everything is very, very fresh.
It only rains twice a year. 6 months once and 6 months the other time.
You know, I think...
Heavy rains, and when those rains where they, like...
No, it's like Ireland said, we've got 3 seasons, wet, wetter, and wettest. I mean, so, you know, you really and truly do not. But Dougal is nearly 5. He was only supposed to last 6 months when we got him, because they're prone to health problems. And he has a protein deficiency when I got him. So he had to go on senior dog food right away, which is why I call him Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. But, like I said, he was only supposed to last 6 months. He's 5 in May. So this is truly, truly American. Irish flag is green, white, and orange. In that order, green, white, and orange. The green represents the southern part of the state, and the orange represents the northern part of the state, and the white in the middle represents the peace between the two. And we have only had our own flag since 1923, when the Free State of, when the British handed over Ireland to Michael Collins at Dublin Castle in 1923. So it's called the tricolour, and that's what it means. It's the peace between the two, the north and the south. Okay.
So I think it's good time for a good sing-along.
Yes, a last song, and then we're ready. Sit, Dougal.
And then I'll do the traditional at the end. But here we go. We're going to sing. We'll sing some good old Irish American tunes that everybody knows, because that's what everybody knows is Irish American. So we'll sing "A Wild Irish Rose When Irish Eyes Are Smiling." Those were my mom's favorite tunes, and at every show I always do them. So we'll sing. Everybody sing along. If you don't know the words, make them up like I do. Oh, it's all right. Danny Boy.
So we're going to do the last
That's
song.
and I brought my fiddle to play for you because you don't want me to sing it, especially today. You've already heard, right? So this is my. Oops.
Are you okay?
Oh, this is my good. Oh, this was my good fiddle. Wait a
He
minute.
had something in the water. There's something in Liam's water. Whatever it is, I want it too.
Wait a minute. Oh,
Yes,
wait a minute.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Oh. Liam, what are you doing?
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that was no good. Oh, it's okay. The bow's okay. We can still do it. Are you ready now? Okay. All right. Well, you didn't think I was going to play the fiddle, did you? No, you hear that all the time. We're going to do that on the old saw. Oh, goodness. Now, I have to tighten my bow here. It's a very serious affair, you know. All right, so.
Can somebody have an ambulance on order?
Wait a minute. Let me try this one. That's a better one. Oh, that works. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to play Little Dandy Boy on the saw. And, oh, I have to give a disclaimer about this, by the way. Rules, insurance. Don't go home and try this on your own. I've had 48 years experience doing it. And so you got to be very careful because it can get off on you, and that's why I have a beard to hide all the scars. Oh, it's horrible. It is. It's Murphy, by the way. Murphy was a great. We all know Murphy. Good old Murphy. Murphy came to me years ago and he said, "Liam," he said, "could you teach me to play the musical saw?" I said, "Yes, Murphy, I'd be happy to do it." Now, Murphy, mind you, lost both his legs below the knees in the war. And he took two shillelaghs, cut them off, and made little legs off it. Wonderful. Of course, now in these days of prosthetics and whatever, I said, "Murphy, we can get you new legs." No, he's very proud of his shillelagh legs. So I taught him to play the saw, and he got very, very good at it. Until one night, after a little careless libations and what have you, it got off away, flew up like this, came right down like that, both those legs right off the knee. I said, "Murphy," I said, "okay, I tell you what, you call the insurance in the morning, will you?" "Yes, I will," he says. "You'll tell them what happened?" "I will," he says. Okay, I called him in the morning. I said, "Murphy, did you call the insurance?" "Yeah, I did," he says. "They going to take care of it?" "No." I said, "Well, what's wrong?" He says, "Well, they said I haven't a leg to stand on." I love that one. I paid £5 for that one. I did. All right, so here we go. A Little Danny Boy. What key would you like this in? G? Okay, well, everybody give me a big G.
G.
Come on, together. G. Are they impressed? You hear that? All right, here we go. Danny Boy in the key of G. Let's see if I can do this. I haven't done this for a while. Just been to the dentist. This is killing me, you know? Get you right here where the gas gathers somewhere. Now the second part I'm going to do here in Gaelic for you. Are you ready? Watch out, Dougal. Here it comes. He likes to accompany on this part. thank you for coming out